Hello and welcome everybody, Crosstown Gamer back at it again, and we are going to be chugging along through our playthrough of A Distant Plain Insurgency in Afghanistan, Volume 3 in the Coin series. And just a quick reminder, this series is largely intended to get newer players over the rules hurdle with playing with 3 bots. I know it can be quite a challenge to do. And so hopefully, if any mistakes that I make are just encouragement that you can still have fun even if you're making mistakes. And we're learning as we go. And so, once again, I would like to thank everyone that has pointed out rules mistakes. I try to internalize those in between videos and keep things as accurate as they possibly can be. Another quick reminder is we don't want this series to overstay its welcome necessarily. This isn't to showcase some grand strategy. I'm not very, I would say, strategically good at these games. So we are going to treat the next propaganda card, the third one, as the final one, rather than going through all 4. Just so that way this video series isn't like 30 videos long, and hopefully you've gotten a good showcase of everything that the bots have to offer and everything I have to offer. And I'm not sure where the next propaganda card is. It could be, pretty close to the bottom anyway. So there'll still definitely be a few videos to go. That being said, I am going to try. I got some notes that, especially because this is geared towards newer players and veterans alike that just like to see the game played, I am going to try to leverage the pawns a little bit more, the placement pawns. Because I know they help me to not forget to pay for things, and or like in a spot where I'm only supposed to be able to do it in 3 spaces, prevents me from doing it in 4 or 2. So anyway, enough preamble. Let's get right into it. The next card that came up is going to be Roadside IEDs, which is a Taliban capability. The Taliban are ineligible to play right now, so it's up to us as the coalition player to decide what to do. And I think it only took, probably 10 of the videos that I've shown you to really get an at least fundamental basic understanding of some semblance of strategy here. So we want to be making sure there's enough support everywhere, and then just like lift our troops out to available, because that gives us more points too. So anything that we can do to give us more support in high population centers is going to help us get closer to our goal, as well as anything that takes our troops off the map and puts them into available is going to help us out as well. You don't want to do that too early, because then you don't have enough presence on the map to prevent things from happening or to actually garner that support that you need. But I think we're late enough in the game that it's in some of these areas where we know there's like no competition. Down here, there's like no contest. Way over here, there's no contest. I think it's safe to pull out of there. So I don't necessarily want to do the event, and we're not holding out hope for being able to play on the following event, even if we passed. So I think we want to take a full turn here. So we want to do the Operation Special Activity, especially considering the government is up next, and we don't care if they take this event. So they're probably just going to do a full turn anyway. So we're not going to worry about it. And I think we want to do train, because this is our way to buy civic actions, and that will allow us to garner support in 1 space, which is better than a poke in the eye. And then we will try to surge as well, because we can move any of our pieces among 3 spaces and available. So we can pull our troops out. And we can mess with the resources and aid if we want, but I don't really feel like that's something we're going to do, especially with the warlords being so close and aid's high enough. Actually, I don't think aid really has an impact on the game anymore, because It's not like we're going past this campaign into the next propaganda or the next campaign. Anyway, so to train, it says we need to place we need to spend 3 government resources in any place where cubes are placed. And we can only place cubes if there's a coalition base there. We can place government cubes. Now, the government did recently have to go home, so a lot of their forces are not on the map anymore. It's a miracle we're in control of as many places as we are. But so we can help them out and place to gain support. Like, it'd be really cool to be able to place a bunch of government troops here, get the coin control that we need, and then use that as our spot to get support, because that'd be 3 points right there. The problem is we can only place those government troops and police in places where there's a coalition base. So spots on the map where there's coalition bases are going to be here, 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 down here. That's pretty much it. And yeah, there's four spots up here and 2 down here. Okay, so in some of these tight zones where there's a lot of it's really close to the Taliban overtaking control. Where the hell was this guy? Oh no. Oh, I think this guy somehow magically transported all the way from over here. That's kind of incredible. Cats, man, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so in some of these spots where it's contentious, I think that's where we're going to want to put troops. And the government has plenty of resources. We're not really worried about it at this point, I think. So we'll train here, and then we can decide, do we want to train in another spot that we're going to add support to, but just not place troops there. So a candidate location would be like here. We could train here. We need coin control to be able to get the support we need. So here would be good. It's only 1 population, but so too are the other spots we were thinking about. And so I think we actually do want to do that up there, because we have a little bit more flexibility on what we can do with our bases here. So at a later point, we can mess with that. So that's what we'll do. We use the pawns. Haha! We're going to train here, we're going to train here, and we will train over here in Herat. So we're going to be placing cubes in these 2 locations. So let's just split it 50-50. Let's do 3 and 3. We can place up to 6 in each location. Actually, we probably don't need that many police. Let's do this. I know there's a golden ratio of like how many troops in a mountain zone is needed to assault and that kind of thing. But I don't remember what it is. And then down here, let's do another 4 and 2. Okay, so overwhelming control here and here, and that costs 3 resources per each of those spaces, and then it'll cost 0 here because we're not actually placing any cubes there. So 6 resources brings us down to 27, and then we can buy civic actions in 1 train space that has coin control, so we'll do that here, and that is another 3 resources, 1, 2, 3, and that gives us our support that we need. So that will give us 1 more point, and then we can remove these. And then I guess I should get in the habit of, I should leave them there because we're not done with our turn yet. But that's fine. Okay. So then we can either surge or airlift. I think we're going to surge, and we can move coalition pieces among 3 spaces and available. And the 3 spaces that we're going to pick for these, they don't have to be train spaces. It's just coin-controlled provinces or Kabul. Let's go here, here, and here. Doesn't cost any resources, and we are just going to lift out. We can, we can even move our bases if we want. Oh, that's kind of handy too. It just says pieces. Move any coalition pieces. So I think we might actually want to do that, considering Taliban or warlords aren't really going to put bases down here because they don't have any presence there. And this frees us up to put maybe a base. We can kick one of their bases out or something somewhere else and be able to at least do something there. So we are going to remove these 2 bases. Maybe this is a dumb idea, but hey, we're trying something different. And we're definitely going to remove these 2 troops as well as this troop up here back into the available. And so that gives us 3 more points as well. So we should have 1, 2, 3, up to 26. Now we just need a few more, eke out a few more points here. Really, if we pulled out everywhere, we'd be able to do it. That's like another 10 points, as long as nobody does any terror ops, which they're going to do. So anyway, that was our turn, our special activity and our operation. And so let's go to the government, that government cheese faction, and see what they want to do. If the current card's a momentum or a capability, then see 8.1 capability. And I believe the capability thing was you're going to roll a die, and then if it's like under the amount of propaganda cards that are left, then they will play it. Otherwise, they will just do operations and special activity instead. Let me just double confirm. I did get it right. You have to roll underneath, or you have to roll a die, and it has to be less than or equal to the number of propaganda cards left. But in the case of the government player on a capability, they're only going to benefit the coalition by playing this. If so, see how this unshaded part would benefit the coalition and not necessarily the government. They're only going to do that if the coalition was a non-player, which the coalition's a player, so they're going to skip it anyway. No need to roll the dice on that. So assault would add 2+ coin control or remove Taliban base. I think this is going to be a big fat no, because none of the pieces are active, and assault need active pieces for them to be even marginally effective. But so assault, whoa. Yeah, remove active guerrillas. So this is going to be a no. Then 2+ player pieces on lines of communication or Taliban exceed enemies on the 3 and the 4 lock. The 3 and the 4 lock are clear. Well, there's government pieces there. And then there's no player pieces on lines of communication that I see. And so this is a no as well. 10+ government troops available, or train would place a base. Nope, there's only 8 more now. And no bases available, so this is a no. So they'll sweep. In a maximum of 2 spaces, don't remove the last. Do not move last troop from line of communication or government base. Lose no control. Okay, so to sweep, remember you can pull in pieces from neighboring regions to help you in your sweep, but get up to 4 troops or more if needed to add coin control to the highest 1+ pop space with no coin base. Sweep evenly. So are they able to do it here? Because if so, that's what they want to do. So they need, there's 3 pieces there, so they need to pull in 3. With this one, they need to pull in 3 more coin pieces for it to work from neighboring regions, for them to be able to do what they want to do, which is gain coin control. So there's 5, 6, 7 here to the 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So they could move 2 from here And then down here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1, 2, 3. So yeah, they can absolutely do it, and they want to move troops. So they can move 2 from up here. I think they want to do it evenly. 2 from here and 2 from here. They're not removing their last troop, and they're not relinquishing control. So that is enough to gain coin control. Oh, I should mark it. And let's just double check the procedure here. Move any government troops onto adjacent locks and then into adjacent spaces. Activate 1 guerrilla per cube there. Now wait a second. I think I did this backwards. I think you can't pull, you push. Move government troops onto... Isn't that weird? Okay. No, okay, we did it right. I was just getting my words confused here. So sweep operations can move troops and also locate enemy guerrillas. Okay, select a province as a destination. That's what we did. We selected that 3 population zone as a destination. Pay 3 government resources per space selected as the destination. And then move any of your faction's adjacent troops into these selected spaces. So you're pulling, you're not pushing. So here they went on the lock, whoop, 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 and it all worked out. Okay. So that's what they did. And then they will activate 1 guerrilla per government cube there. And so there's only 1 guerrilla to activate. Whoa! So they'll activate it. Then right. So you have to pay for entering locks with any guerrillas, but we went just directly from adjacent spots rather than going through the lines of communication. Okay, then we'll sweep in place. We're activating the most pieces out of the player. No. Taliban and then Warlord. So in a maximum of 2 spaces, we've already picked 1. So the next place that's going to activate the most number of Taliban pieces is going to be, well, they'd love to do it here, but there's nobody there. It's going to be here. There's 4 guerrillas there able to be activated. And they're sweeping in place, meaning they're... See, this is why I need to be better about using the pawns. Okay. So, sweeping in place means they're not going to pull from anywhere. They're just going to straight up activate the guerrillas there. So those are the 2 spots. We will pay the resources. I believe it is 3. Everything seems to be 3. Yep. So 3 per. There's 2 spots selected. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And suddenly the resource situation is getting more dire. And they're going to activate all the guerrillas possible here. Which is great for us. And so they swept. Next, they will transport from 1 space to 1 space. Don't move the last troop from line of communication or government base. Lose no control. They're not going to worry about it. Let's see. Per sweep bullet 1, paying 1 resource per... Okay, so... interest space with government... Paying 1 resource per... Yeah, we have to look at the transport rules, but I'm pretty sure... let's just double check. Transport. Yeah, the chains of lines of communication. Or cobble. And then into an adjacent space, paying 1 resource to the warlords per space entered with any guerrilla. And they're going to do this per the bullet point 1, which is to get 4 troops or more if needed to add coin control to the highest 1+ population with no coin base. So now highest to add control to the highest population province with no coin base. This is a 2 with no coin base. There's no room, but that's not what the bullet point says. That we could add control to potentially 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this would be, if all 4 pieces were in there, it would be enough for control. So I think they want to take from the spot that has the highest excess of control, and they want it to be cheapest. And they're prioritizing cheapest from where to pull from. So I think the only spot that they have enough excess to be able to do that is going to be either here or here, and both are going to cost the same because they both have to travel on this line of communication anyway. And I think, do they have to? Yeah. Entered space with enemy guerrillas. I don't think the destination counts, or does it? Yeah, it probably does. Okay. So before I botch this, so let's see if we can not botch it this time. So we have 1, 2, 3 plus 6 is 9, 10, 11 against 4 here. And here we have 5, 10, 13, 14, or 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 versus 11. And there's 5. So this one has a higher excess because there's 4 here. So there's an excess of 7, or really 6, to keep control. And then here there's 15, minus the 5 is 10, minus 1 more to retain control is going to be 9. So 9 is a higher number, so there's more excess here. Although it does say sweep from viable sources. Oh, no. Sweep evenly from random sources. But this is transport, so it's one location to one location. So they are going to go for from here into here, to Nuristan. And to do that, they have to hop on this line of communication, hop into Kabul, and then... Are they allowed to do that? I think it might be too far. It says chains of locks, so I know they can do stuff like this. Yowza. Actually, they could pull from there too. I don't know if they can go into Kabul and then into an adjacent spot like that. Onto along a chain or Kabul, if chains of locks or Kabul, so that counts. So you can do that. Beep, bop. So they have to pay a resource, and a resource. So 3 total. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and they've crossed the threshold officially for resources. They still don't have enough for their other win condition, though. Okay, and they will move 4, and they are moving a group of troops specifically. So no police. And they go up here, and then we gain coin control. And that did not cost anything either. Okay. So that was their special activity. And remember, again, I know it says limited operation, but they are a bot, so they get to do a full turn every time. And we'll adjust our eligibility. And we'll play the next one, which is Teetotalers, followed up by Tajiks. So, with Teetotalers, the Warlords are up first, And they're likely going to play the event. Let's see. So, play the shaded part if it's going to do some stuff. What will it do? Each space with warlord pieces, warlords may pay -1 resource per Taliban guerrilla to remove any of them. Okay, this is card number 63. Let's look, because it might increase warlord uncontrolled population if they're able to remove Taliban. But that would be in spots where the Taliban have control, I think. Anyway, 63 teetotalers. Taliban. Oh, warlords are going to choose operations and special activity. Look at that. So we don't have to worry about it. So, is Rally going to replace guerrillas with bases? My gut tells me no. Yeah, I don't think they're anywhere. The only place where they could possibly place a base, they have room for it, is here. And they don't have enough guerrillas to do that. So no. Player positive victory margin? No, not yet. Terror could reduce player victory points. Yeah, it probably can. Okay. I mean, we expected this. I shouldn't be sighing quite so heavily or loudly. This is the name of the game. All right, so I'm running out of room. All right. So terror. Spaces with underground warlord guerrillas, they can activate one, add a terror marker, and set it to neutral. So yes, there's an underground guerrilla, for example, here. That's going to be devastating. It's going to cost them one resource per space to do that. So this is a yes. In a max of 3 spaces, shifting to neutral without exposing the last at a warlord base. So they won't do it here because there's a warlord base and they're going to be exposing the last one. So let's actually double check to see if there are any. Yeah, they could still do it up here, for example. Okay. Just needed to make sure this was still a yes. And so to reduce the player victory points at the highest population, and then in one space for the greatest shift. Yeah, max 3 spaces. So you're going to reduce the player's victory points by the highest margin at the highest population. Sorry, I was just pausing to make sure I wasn't missing any. I think this is the only spot that doesn't have the last gorilla, for example. So they are going to do it here, though. So they expose... let me use the pawns. We select all the spaces first for the bots, and then we execute them. So to reduce the player victory... Yeah, this is the only spot that they're able to do it in without exposing the last gorilla. So then we will do that. So it'll cost them 1 resource. This goes away. This flips. My 3 points goes down 1, 2, 3. And a terror marker is added up here. And this goes back in the bowl. And it didn't adjust any of the win conditions for anyone else. So that's kind of crappy. And then they're going to try to suborn. So they're going to suborn in up to 3 spaces. Don't spend resources such that falling below 41 resources. So they're at 41 resources currently. So they don't want to fall below that. So, if no such, suborn. After terror or attack, no special activity. And we did a terror. So they're not going to try to cultivate. It was after a terror, so they're not going to do a special activity because they can't fall below 41 resources. So, yeah, interestingly enough, that means they did... This is where it gets a little confusing for me, personally. Technically, you do this after you've taken your turn. They did not do a special activity. I haven't been doing this the entire game, by the way, so if it's come up before, I'm sorry. They did not do a special activity, so technically they go up here. That means that the Taliban player can only do operations and special activity. They're not going to do the event. They're not going to do the event anyway because the special instructions say not to. So it really doesn't matter in this one circumstance. But it is good to actually follow the sequence of play, and if they didn't do a special activity, then they go up here. And then, so if we were up next, for example, we could only do a limb up. We couldn't do the event. So anyway, the Taliban now are going to do their operation and special activity. I think I messed this up in Falling Sky probably every time. So yeah, I believe that's how you're supposed to play it. My initial gut reaction is like, well, no, I'm choosing to do an operation and special activity, but I'm just opting not to do the special activity, but that's not the case here. It actually did end up, I think it was Andean Abyss, or maybe it was even Cuba Libre. It had an impact on the very end of the game and who won. So anyway, this is how I think it should be played. Feel free to argue with me on that. So the Taliban now will execute. Okay. Terror would shift 3+ opposition and support combined. So for the Taliban, their terror is spaces with underground Taliban guerrillas. Same old thing. Basically, same sequence. And let's look at the terror op. So without exposing the last underground guerrilla at a Taliban base. They're going to do it first at support, then at neutral. So like here, well, it's already at opposition, but that's only one. Here they have two, so they could do this. They could even do it here because there's no Taliban base. Oh no. And then they could absolutely do it there. They could not do it there. Great, but anyway, that's more than 3. So yes, they're going to do it at support first, in as many spaces as they can, and then they're going to do it at neutral. So I do think there's a 1, a 2, a 3. Those are the spots they're capable of doing it. They can't do it down here. It's already at opposition. The other spots with support, they don't have any guerrillas. So they will, and it costs them 1 resource per. So we go 1, 2, 3. And they will do this. They will remove this. That is -3 for us again. 1, 2, 3. Wow. And then they will, I'll add the terror markers in a sec. They'll do this. Eliminate the support there. That's 4 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And suddenly they're really pooping on our bonfire here. Oh, this one's not at support, but it is at neutral, and it's the only spot left. So they will do it at neutral. And so they will activate 1, and they will add a opposition, and that will increase their victory points by 1. And then we add our terror markers, in those locations. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then finally, they are going to extort without exposing the last underground guerrilla in Afghanistan. Everywhere without exposing the last Taliban at non-oppose if still at 0 resource. Okay. Yeah, let's look at where they're going to be doing this. So for extort, any spaces with underground and more Taliban than the enemy. So they can do it here. Underground guerrilla and more Taliban than the enemy. I don't think anywhere else. Oh, they can technically do it. Oh no, did I lose opposition somewhere? No, I probably just dropped it. Okay, so they can do it out here too. I believe. Yep. So in each space, activate that guerrilla. Take 2 warlord resources per warlord base, if any. If none, add 1 or unsabotage lines communication econ in resources. So either they're stealing from the warlords in some locations, or they are just taking from the land or the lines of communication. So again, they're going to do this everywhere without exposing the last Taliban at a non-opposition spot. And they can expose in Pakistan freely. So they will. Well, this is exposing the last Taliban guerrilla at a non-opposition spot, but that's only non-opposition because it's in Pakistan. It doesn't get that. I think the intention, though, is that they would be able to do it here. Here, here, here. 1, 2, 3. Resources, and then here they can do it. There's no warlord base, so they can do it there. And that's all. Yep. Oh, I should have been marking them all with red cylinders. So that's 4 resources. And yes, they already paid. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We'll collect the pawns. And yeah, I think that was it. So we'll adjust our eligibility yet again. The next card up is going to be Tajiks, and then followed by mine removal. All right, well, I'm going to leave that for the next video. And here we are at the end of, we got through, what, 2 cards? So I know I keep saying we're going to go faster, and then I end up rambling on. So we're probably not going to go any faster than this, but we will get there in time. And man, we got really close to being over that threshold. If we can hang on in some of these spots over here and reclaim our support, especially here, then life's going to be good again. No one's really super close to actually winning the game. We were at a point, and I know I forgot to adjust the coin control. So before you yell at me in the comments about adjusting coin control for like this spot here, I know it's at least that spot. It's probably more. Yeah, I think it was also here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think. I'm going to recalculate it. So maybe the government actually is really close to winning after all. I'll recalculate it off camera. And yeah, hope it's been enjoyable so far. And we will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.